Hello, hello, hello. Let's see if this is working. Hello, hello, hello. I believe that it is. I'm going to hope that it is. I'll go ahead and apologize off the top if I sound terrible. Most of the time, if I sound terrible, it's because my allergies are kicking my ass, and they have been for the past couple of hours. So I apologize for that right off the rip. What I don't need to apologize for is another ROH review, and this time around we got another special ROH review per se. It's technically not an ROH TV review. It's just an ROH review, as this is matches. I'll try to go out in words. Matches from Action Pro Wrestling Dean 3, a tribute event that was taped before and after last week's Collision and is taking the place of this week's ROH TV episode. Now, this is somewhat similar to a couple months ago when ROH did ROH Global Wars Mexico, and then later on because I did not label that review a TV episode, because it would have been episode 122 to be exact. Now, at the time, it was just a special episode, and then later on, they added it as a part of the weekly catalog. So that's how we got episode number 122 out of this. I don't know if they will go and do the same for this event. So for the time being, and for continuity, and only really my well-being, for now, this is not an ROH TV review. It's just a special review of Action Pro Wrestling Dean 3. And a event that was almost 2 hours long. Later 7 matches, because, spoiler alert, there's a match added at the very end. But I will say, a lot of times that we get a lot of matches on ROH when they do the longer episodes. This time around, again, there's only 6 matches, so these matches have a lot of time, and it benefited some of them. So let's get right into it. Like I said, we got a big review. We got a big matchup taking place. We got a casino battle royale. The last time I did one of these, it was very funny, and they had a lot of ROH connections, where I will apologize this time around. We got a lot more names that have never been in Ring of Honor and 3 custom characters. The funny part was the last time around that John Moxley and Orange Cassidy were the last 2, and then proceeded to have like a 10-minute battle with one another, trying to get each other out of the ring, and then it ended. So let's go ahead and get into this, and get into this review. As the opening contest, bit of an insane start. A 2 out of 3 fall submissions only match featuring Hechicero, Xelhua, and Dr. Cerebro versus Blue Panther, Virus, and El Pantera. El Pantera and Dr. Cerebro start the match off, with the action picking up once leg locks when Xelhua and Blue Panther tag in. Hechicero at least goes for 2 pinfalls, but as I mentioned, off the top submission only matchup, so, kind of instinct kicking in right there. But his team is able to get the first fall when Xelhua ties up Virus in the air with a headlock, and he never really taps out, and I wouldn't even really say he submitted. Aubrey Edwards you just said, hey, he gave up. That was the end of the first fall. Hechicero and Blue Panther have a back and forth with several head scissors. Blue Panther teams ties it up with Blue Panther tying up Xelhua and him giving up. Kind of the same situation as the first fall, but it is tied 1-1. Blue Panther's team has a hard time applying any more submissions after this, as Hechicero and Xelhua come into the ring each time to break them up. Blue Panther hits a crossbody to Hechicero on the outside, and Pantera hits a senton onto Cerebro on the outside on the other side. But in the ring, Hechicero ties up Pantera once again for the second and final fall of the match, as Hechicero, Xelhua, and Dr. Cerebro win the opening contest. Next matchup is Nicole Matthews versus Billy Starks, and I will say again, these matchups were a bit longer than usual, and this is one of these matchups that I think really helped, because I feel that a lot of Billy Starks matches in the ROH TV review, reviews, are just very quick to the point. Billy Stark gets her shit in and wins. Where this time around, it was a back and forth bout, and a pretty good one. Matthews has the early advantage with lots of kicks and forearms, but this changes once Billy lands an Alabama slam in the corner, later landing a neckbreaker on her knee. A brainbuster by Nicole gets a 2 count and then misses on a moonsault attempt that Starks is able to hit an electric chair driver afterwards to pick up the victory. Next matchup is Matt Mako taking on Wheeler Yuta. We get an immediate smack by Yuta, with Mako following up with an ankle lock attempt. Shafir attacks Mako with the referee's back being turned. A counter mutilation in the center of the ring by Yuta. We got a spinning heel kick by Mako in the ring, and then the action spills to the outside, where Mako hits another spinning heel kick with Yuta sitting in a chair in the corner. We got a top rope suplex and a sit-out powerbomb in the ring for a 2 count. While battling on the second rope, Mako transitions it into a cross-arm breaker in the center of the ring, but Shafir distracts the referee and later Mako breaking this up. And then while he turns around, he is caught with a Busaiku knee by Yuta, and Yuta picking up the victory. After this, Yuta grabs a fan in the front row and is antagonizing him, and drags him across the barricade and smacks him several times. And we later find out that this is the son of Dean, who this whole event is named after. So I thought that was a bit unnecessary and a bit of bullshit that he did that. Also, this is an event that took place in the 2300 arena. A lot of hostility in this arena. I think I wouldn't even really say it's one of the selling points, but we've been seeing it the past couple weeks on Dynamite Collision with FTR get into it with the fans, and now this happened. So the hostility really picks up when you're in Philadelphia, I guess. Next matchup is Sammy Guevara, Dralistico, and the Beast Mortos, all representing Facción Ingobernables, which I always write down LFI, taking on Rhett Titus, Eli Iceland, and my favorite, Cheeseburger. Titus and Mortis start the match off. A great battle between Mortis and Cheeseburger is thwarted with Mortos landing a powerbomb and a big lariat. We get frequent taunting from the LFI members throughout the match, with Mortos landing a pop-up Samoan drop on Iceland, and Sammy tagging in to land a Swanton bomb to pick up the victory. Another post-match attack after this matchup by the members of LFI. And post-match, Sammy Guevara is delivering a message. And I did not write the whole thing down, because I kind of, it's Sammy Guevara talking, if we're just being honest. And he was saying that Philadelphia sucks and that everybody should move, with the crowd responding that Texas sucks. And he said he agrees with them. And he moved to Florida so he could agree with them on that. And essentially it was LFI signaling that they want all of the championships in Ring of Honor. And they already have 2 of them. I will say this. I have pushed and advocated and suggested that LFI, Dralistico, and Roosh be the ROH tag team champions for a while, because I love Roosh, love Beast Mortos, love Dralistico, and mainly Roosh has history in ROH, and he is a long-term world champion. I was like, let's add another championship to his resume in ROH. Okay. And the Beast Mortos, I feel, would have a great TV title run. So I'm somewhat glad that we're going into this direction, but if you could tell, I named 3 people. Sammy Guevara's here and has really changed the vibe of the group. And while he does have similarities to the people there, and it's not the worst fit, it could be a way worse fit, and it's very early on. My thing is, I don't like it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm kind of neutral towards it. But this is just, what's the best way I could describe it? I don't really want him in the group. That is the simplest way that I could put it. And I would have to be overly impressed to, really have me think it be a good fit. Especially because in my mind, he hasn't been there. And I didn't even really necessarily think that he needed to be there. And this is the one thing that really, I will say, bothered me, is that the past year plus, he has been a baby face. Like, everybody's been cheering him because he's been Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs. And just instantly he turned back to it. Like, there was no, hint that he was going to turn heel and be an asshole once again. So I kind of also feel that the transition period was a little bit fake, and I think that it kind of leans into it a little bit more, but maybe it will take some time and get used to it. So, long story short, I kind of wish Sammy wasn't in LFI, but I'm at least giving it the benefit of the doubt and think that it could be somewhat okay. But as of right now, I still kind of wish he wasn't there. That's the simplest way I could put it. And I'm sorry that I took way longer with my opinion on it than what actually happened. But this was a quick matchup anyways. Someone else with championship aspirations, Blake Christian, is backstage reminiscing over Bandito and last week's main event matchup on the YouTube special, and how after the matchup he attacked Bandito and held up the world championship, and saying that Bandito is like Jay Lethal, who he also has beef with. They are old chapters of ROH, and he looks to be a part of the new chapter. I already said it last week, and I'll hint at it again. It's not really hinting at it again. I have no, like, y'all think I don't like Sammy Guevara. Blake Christian is kind of on that same level. I won't say that he is bad, and he has enjoyable matches, but if he ends up as world champion, I said it last week, I'll say it again. I'll stop doing ROH reviews because I really don't want to fucking see that. And you can tell I'm serious because I dropped an F-bomb. Very intense matchup right here. A hair versus hair matchup. Demus El Demonica, who I will admit this is the first time I'm seeing him compete, going against Mad Dog Connelly, who I saw compete at the last Action Dean event against Adam Priest in a pretty good dog collar match. I will also apologize because I did not review that full show. I talked about some of the matches that they aired on ROH TV, and so this time around I had to review the full event. So some people I was not familiar with on the show. But these two men did compete at the first Action Dean event, which was not in collaboration with ROH, where this one and the previous one were. But these two men competed on the first Action Dean event in a dog collar match. But this time around, it is a hair versus hair match. Connelly lips at Demonico's shirt. He rips his shirt off early on and starts to choke him with it. Connelly slams him into the steel steps on the outside and tries it again, but just to be reversed and go to the steps. Demonico's crossbody in the ring gets a 2 count. Connelly brings a chair into play, but it will not help him as he ends up headfirst into the chair on a headbutt attempt. A Gotch paw driver gets a 2 count. Then the chair comes into play once again, followed by a spinning muscle buster by Demonico for a 2 count. Then the dog collar that Connelly brought out, I guess trying to reminisce over their first matchup, comes into play as Demonico attacks Connelly with it, and he ends up trapped on the top rope and causes a referee stoppage as Demonico wins this matchup, and Connelly has to lose his hair. He does not lose all of his hair, but he does lose it, like quote-unquote loses it, and his hair as he shaves himself. And he still has some hair left, but I imagine the next time that we see him, it'll be dramatically different. It's also weird. It's not really that weird, but most hair versus hair matches that I have seen, which I'm only thinking of Kurt Angle versus Edge at Judgment Day 2002, Victoria versus Molly Holly, WrestleMania 20. When the hell... Oh, CM Punk, Rey Mysterio. That was a mask versus hair match, but still the stipulation is applause. A lot of times, the person that loses the match tries to, like, run away, and then the securities and referees have to come out and hold the person down that way that they actually get their head shaved. That's not the case this time around. Connelly, good on him. He was a man of his word and just shaved himself. So, there's that. As now, our last matchup is a proper ROH matchup. It is a pure ROH matchup. It is a pure title match. Lee Moriarty defending against Josh Woods. Credit to ROH. I think they kind of did it as a subtle dig. And I've talked about it in several of my ROH retro reviews, how they don't like to acknowledge Jonathan Gresham. And I'm not, I like Jonathan Gresham. He's an important part of ROH. And like I said, I kind of think it was a subtle dig because Josh Woods defeated Jonathan Gresham for the pure championship. And they even mentioned on commentary that he won the title in this building. Now, they didn't mention Jonathan Gresham by name, but they showed before the matchup Josh Woods' history in the pure division and him defeating Jonathan Gresham. So that's why I'm pointing it out, that he was acknowledged, but it's kind of a subtle dig. Point being, we're here for your pure title match in the main event, Lee Moriarty versus Josh Woods. Several roll-up pins from both early on, with Woods getting out of a pinfall attempt using his first rope break attempt. A quick rebuttal leads to Moriarty using his first rope break attempt after a leg lock by Woods. Moriarty's second rope break comes after Woods places him in between the middle ropes and applies a headlock, and so he was already in the ropes, and the referee was forced to break it, and using Moriarty's second rope break. The same then happens to Woods later, with Moriarty applying an arm lock while Woods is stuck between the ropes. Woods delivers a powerbomb and an anarchy suplex into the corner for a 3 count. At least you thought, because Moriarty at the very last second gets his foot under the bottom rope using his last rope break attempt. Woods, he doesn't, front over it. He then applies an ankle lock in the center of the ring because Moriarty no longer has any rope break attempts, but is able to reverse it into a roll-up and pick up the victory as Moriarty continues his pure title reign and adding championship legacy and lineage to Shane Taylor Promotions, who then come out to celebrate with Moriarty, as Shane Taylor is not that happy, because if the people of Action Pro Wrestling were that smart, they would have had all of STP competing on this show, and he wants to really compete. I alluded to it at the very beginning. There's an extra matchup added during this course of this show, and so Shane Taylor kind of provides an open challenge that was immediately answered by AR Fox. So our last matchup to talk about, a very quick matchup. AR Fox taking on Shane Taylor. Immediate brawl to the outside, including a pair of Fox dives, and Taylor catching him on his second one. We get a big clothesline in the ring. The two battle on the apron, with Fox getting knocked off of onto the barricade, and then hitting Taylor with a cutter on the apron, and then a swanton in the ring that gets a 2 count. He attempts a second swanton, but Taylor moves out of the way and lands a big right hand, ending this matchup and quickly ending this show. So overall, a very enjoyable show. I can't really even say it's that. I would only say that the 2 stipulation matches made this feel different from ROH, but a lot of it kind of had the ROH vibes, and obviously the ROH presentation because it was taped in an ROH venue. So it didn't really feel too dramatic and too different, but overall it was kind of enjoyable and something, I enjoyed talking about here. So the only thing I don't like is that technically it's not an ROH TV episode unless they're like, oh, we got, because this is what happened again. What happened last time around with Global Wars Mexico is they uploaded it as a special event in the events tab. Because on Honor Club, there's a TV archive and there's an events tab. So once they came to that next week, they uploaded Global Wars onto the TV section and gave it an episode number. So I don't know if they will do the same here. It doesn't matter to y'all. It might matter to some of you. If it does, I apologize. But it matters to me because of continuity and what I need to label this as. But long story short, I'll probably just label it ROH Review Matches from Action Dean 3. So, sorry that this matchup on here will not finish. I will let it play out on its own. And if you really care who wins, comment, and I will tell you, because I will watch it at this rate. Never fucking mind. I was going to say Kid Dreamer who's going to win, and then he immediately got eliminated. That's hilarious and a good way to end this. I will say, again, everything is starting to blend in together. And what I mean by that is that All Out is supposed to be next week, or is next weekend. And I believe that next week's AEW is a 2-1 September to remember. So there's not going to be a collision. It's just going to air after Dynamite as a big, long special. Kind of how they did with Summer Blockbuster and Fyter Fest earlier in the year. So, but it's only going to be 3 hours this time around. Those two are 4 hours, which in hindsight was a bit insane. But, it is what it is. Point being, next week's ROH review, I should include an all-out preview and predictions in it. And the better thing about it is I don't know how much will be added to All Out. We should have a pretty set card for All Out because there's not going to be an episode of Collision because it would have already aired. So hopefully I see you all then. If not, I don't know what the hell happened, but we'll see. So kind of a weird ending to the review, but I'm starting to sweat and the allergies are going to start to kick my ass again. So I do appreciate y'all watching this, though. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you when I see you, because I'm out for now. Goodbye.